The Lord be with you.
And with your spirit.
A reading from the Holy Gospel according to Matthew.
Glory to you, O God.
At that time, Herod the Tetrarch heard about the fame of Jesus, and he said to his servants, "This is John the Baptist. He has been raised from the dead, and that is why these miraculous powers are at work in him." For Herod had seized John and bound him and put him in prison for the sake of Herodias, his brother Philip's wife, because John had been saying to him, "It is not lawful for you to have her." And though he wanted to put him to death, he feared the people because they held him to be a prophet. But when Herod's birthday came, the daughter of Herodias danced before the company and pleased Herod, so that he promised with an oath to give her whatever she might ask. Prompted by her mother, she said, "Give me the head of John the Baptist here on a platter." And the king was sorry. But because of his oaths and his guests, he commanded it to be given. He sent and had John beheaded in the prison, and his head was brought on a platter and given to the girl. And she brought it to the mother. And his disciples came and took the body and buried it, and they went and told Jesus. The Gospel of the Lord.
Praise be to you, Lord Jesus Christ.
The first reading these days, and very especially today, gives us a structure. God prompting a kind of a structure how the social life could be justly formed on the basis of divine justice. So, be it the celebration of the great Paschal festival or many other festivals that God enumerated in yesterday's readings, and very especially today, as He declares how to celebrate the Jubilee year. So it's a little calculation that God tries to work out so that there is a structure created in which there is social justice is established and re-established at every generation. The Sabbath day, the seventh day, is to be kept holy, and that's a day of break. Every seventh year is called the sabbatical year, during which they should not do any plowing, any farming, any cattle breeding. It has to be just laid down, and therefore it's a year of a break, sabbatical year. And every 7 years from then is calculated, and seventh time of the 7 years is 49 years, and therefore the next year, the 50th year, is the Jubilee year. And what is the speciality of this Jubilee year is the family inheritance that is going to be given to them. That is what the social justice God creates. He says there will be a family inheritance going to be given to you, and that is yours. There could have been a moment when you went through an economic crisis, and you went down very badly, and therefore you may have to alienate that your family, your inheritance to somebody else, so that you are able to stabilize your economic situation. What you are actually selling is not the land. You are only leasing out for the number of years until the next Jubilee year. So if you have more number of years, let us say 49 years, you get more number of money in return. And what you are selling is that many years of the crops. So you are only selling, let's say, 49 years of crops or 25 years of crops. Or if the economic crisis was on the 48th year and you are leasing it out, you are only selling it for 1 year. So on the 50th year, the Jubilee year, everyone will get back their family inheritance. So once again, there is equality. Once again, there is some family inheritance that they have, an economic situation from where they can build their life again. So 50 years is calculated as one generation. How God beautifully structurizes in such a way that His divine justice is established and there is no inequality. There is no unjust advantage taken by each other because of some crisis or some situation. Well, God is trying to work it out in a kind of a structural justice, implementing His divine justice. We as human persons, when we are called to imitate God, or being created in the image and likeness of God, with the capacity to act in the freedom of the will, we, on the contrary, create a structure of evil. We see that in the gospel reading today. A structure of evil in which there is covetousness, there is a murder of conscience, where I do something wrong and I realize that this is wrong. I don't act upon it. As Herod knows that what he has done is wrong, and he doesn't want to take action on that. And he therefore goes ahead with the murder. So there are so many social evils that we find is because of, in some way, we as human persons, with a given freedom that God has given us, we have acted badly, and we have created a structure in which the structure of evil is existing and perpetuated. So we see a clash of interest here between the divine justice structure and the structure of evil. And when the evil structure is increasing, is where we see injustice in the society. We may comment on the injustices in Manipur or Haryana or many other parts of India or the world, that when we experience or when we come across, we feel an anger. We are very upset with that. We are aroused by our social justice. And we say, no, that is wrong. It cannot be done. We realize, because the divine justice informs us that is evil. While on the one hand, we become aware of that social evil because we are in awareness of divine justice. When we realize our life, in our interpersonal relationships, in our family life, in our social relationships, in some way, we too imbibe by the social evil that is already there. So whenever we act on our own selfishness, our own wrong ideas about taking advantage of people and their situation, whenever we cheat one another, defraud one another, we are not partaking in the divine justice. We are partaking in the structure of evil. So, dear friends, as the Lord intends to give us this divine justice and wants us to imitate Him in the divine justice, let us recognize the structural evil present within us. When we oppose the structural evil that is existing in the society, when we are aroused with the evil that is happening outside the world, when we comment on that, when we want that to be stopped, let us stop the structural evil in us, in our thoughts, words, and in our actions. The Lord, in His divine justice, as He is nourishing us with His Eucharistic meal, may strengthen us that we may overcome the structural evil that could be present in us and grow more and more in our divine justice. Amen.